Okay, let's get right into it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a pretty wild financial drama, one that all went down in just a few hours. This isn't just a story about a stock going up. No, this is about a perfectly executed ambush on Wall Street.
Just look at that number, plus 26.9%. I mean, that is a massive gain for any stock, but what's really staggering is when this happened. This wasn't some slow and steady climb over a few weeks. Nope, this happened after the market had already closed for the day.
So that's the big mystery we're going to solve together. How in the world does a company, seemingly in the blink of an eye, convince everyone it's worth over 25% more than it was just hours before? We're going to play financial detective here and piece all the clues together. Let's set the scene. The trading day on March 4th looked completely ordinary. The closing bell rang, everything went quiet. But then, Alto Ingredients released one single piece of information, and it set off an absolute explosion in after-hours trading. And the move was just violent. The stock closed the day at $2.64, but in the after-hour session, it just took off like a rocket, hitting $3.35. This was a sudden, explosive reaction to information that caught almost everyone completely by surprise.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. This wasn't just a big move. It was a move that nobody, and I mean nobody on Wall Street saw coming. It was a total shock to the system. The disconnect here is just staggering. The experts, the analysts who do this for a living, they were all expecting a loss of about 4 cents per share. But instead, Alto Ingredients comes out and delivers a profit of 28 cents per share. This wasn't just a small beat, this was a complete obliteration of expectations. And that is the heart of the ambush.
As one source put it so well, the institutional market completely fell asleep at the wheel. It just paints this perfect picture, right? The so-called smart money was caught totally off guard. They had priced this company for failure, and instead it delivered a spectacular success.
All right, so how did they pull this off? Let's start our investigation. We're now going to dig into the clues that Wall Street completely missed, and we'll start with the company's own history. So clue number one is that this wasn't random at all. Alto Ingredients used to be a company called Pacific Ethanol, and they were stuck in the low-margin business of producing commodity fuel. But then an activist investor got involved and started pushing for a huge change. They pivoted, upgrading their plants to make high-margin specialty alcohol. We're talking the kind that goes into things like mouthwash and cosmetics. These earnings, well, they were the payoff. They were the proof that this whole turnaround strategy had actually worked. Clue number two is a concept called the crush spread. Now, it sounds super technical, but I promise it's simple. Think of a bakery. The crush spread is just the difference between what the bakery pays for flour and what it sells its cakes for. For Alto, it's the profit margin between their main ingredient, corn, and what they sell, which is specialty alcohol and animal feed. And late last year, corn prices fell, while their product prices stayed high. That made their profit margin, the spread, widen dramatically.
And the impact of that was just massive. I mean, look at this swing. In the fourth quarter of 2024, the company actually lost $1.4 million. Fast forward 1 year, thanks to that crush spread and their big strategy change, and they posted a gross profit of over $15 million. That is a huge turnaround.
But that wasn't even the whole story. There was a third clue, a kind of secret weapon hiding in plain sight on their financial statements. A big, juicy number, $7.5 million. So the question is, where did this extra cash come from?
And here it is. Management had brilliantly positioned the company to grab millions in government tax credits for clean fuel production. So this wasn't just the market helping them out, this was a really savvy move by the company to take advantage of government policy, which dropped millions of pure profit dollars straight to their bottom line.
So, you've got this huge earnings surprise, the stock is exploding. What happens next? Well, in the aftermath of an ambush like this, you always have very clear winners and very clear losers. For the winners, the fundamental investors who saw this coming, the story might just be getting started. See, even after that huge 27% jump, the company is still valued at around 5.8 times its earnings. Its competitors, they trade for 8 to 12 times. That gap suggests that even after this big pop, the stock could still be incredibly cheap.
And then, of course, you have the losers. This quote here reveals a little bit of market drama. You have traders in the options market who essentially bet that the stock wouldn't make a big move. Well, they lost that bet big time. They're described as being trapped, and now they'll probably be forced to buy the stock on the open market, which could actually push the price even higher.
So what's next? What does the future hold? The company has pulled off a truly stunning turnaround. But, like with any story this dramatic, there are some major risks that could undo all of it. This entire success story really rests on two main pillars. First, low corn prices. If there's a sudden spike in the cost of corn, it would absolutely crush their profit margins. And second, those government tax credits. If future laws change and get rid of those subsidies, millions in profit would just, poof, vanish.
And that leaves us with the final big question. Was this a genuine, sustainable business turnaround that the market just completely missed? Or was it just a perfect storm, a lucky convergence of low corn prices, savvy management, and government help that just can't last? The answer is going to determine if this ambush was a one-night event or the beginning of a whole new chapter for Alto Ingredients.